Thank you for your patience. Let me introduce myself to you. So, I am Jashanpreet Singh. I am from India and I'm a backend developer at Fountain, a venture owned by Chai Point. Yes, and I am an MIT Innovation and Entrepreneurship Bootcamp alumni as well. So, feel free to get in touch with me if you want to know anything about MIT Innovation Bootcamp. So let's know something like what exactly is extreme ownership and what this webinar is all about. So this webinar will be based on the learnings of Jocko Willink. Yes, a SEAL leader who explained how the lessons he learned in combat are relevant to leaders in any role. This webinar will be providing you with fundamental leadership skills through Willink's insightful combat experiences and stories. Yeah, he actually examines a number of leadership concepts that have been proven as effective in both combat, war zone, and business scenarios. So let's discuss about them one by one, step by step, with certain examples. So number one principle is extreme ownership. So the principle says that a true leader is someone who takes 100% ownership of everything in his domain, including the outcome and everything that affects it. See, if you are a leader, you owe each and everything that affects the outcome of the team. You cannot say that, like, this happened because of this thing or that happened because of that thing. No excuses. Failure means failure as a leader, as a team. So let's take an example from a combat. So a troop was going on some one-on-one fighting session with other country. Okay, so after like 2 to 3 hours, they got to know that they caught on blue on blue. So let me tell you, blue on blue is the worst blunder that can ever happen in a war zone. Blue on blue is a friendly shooting. It's like you are shooting your friends. You are not shooting your enemies. You are shooting your friends only. Just thinking that you are shooting your enemies. Okay. So this actually happened in a war zone. So this was because of the mistakes done by troops on the ground, by the commanders, as well as the ground force. So the all combined mistakes led to a blue on blue and a friendly fighting with each other. So they held a meeting. So the commander in chief totally took the uh, ownership of that mistake. He might have lost his job, but but he actually took the extreme ownership. He asked everyone that who did this, why this thing happened. Everyone is like this happened because of this thing, this happened because of that thing. So many excuses. But at the end, commander said no, you all are wrong. This happened because of the leader, because of me. Just take a note, guys. He took extreme ownership. Okay. So what happened after that? His seniors started thinking that he is someone who can actually lead, and his juniors also started believing in his leader a lot than earlier. So yes, this is an example from a real world combat. Like just to notice that each and every examples from a combat, from a war field, are real life examples, and the applications to those principles in business would also be the real world examples from startups and businesses and tycoons from India, USA, and Australia that I have studied. So, if we take this principle of extreme ownership in the application to business, I'll share you. I won't name any company, I won't name any person, but yeah, I'll share you a scenario where company's VP of manufacturing uh, was leading behind the goals. Okay, so he just discussed each and everything with Jocko Willink. So he's like, yeah, Jocko Willing explained him that just tell me each and everything that why this manufacturing goals are not getting touched. So the VP is like, yeah, this is because of this reason, that reason. The salesperson are not good, or you can say that market is not good. It's totally down. At the end, Willing says that you are the leader, you are the VP, you are the vice president of this manufacturing plant. You have to take the full extreme ownership of this thing. And guess what? He he took the ownership and he made certain changes in each and every part, in each and every aspect that is required to fulfill the goals. And after a struggle of maybe 1.5 and 2 years, yes, the company was able to touch the manufacturing goals, all thanks to the principle of extreme ownership. And yeah, we'll be taking the questions uh, at the end of the slide. Okay, just keep a note of each and everything. This is our second principle: no bad team, only bad leaders. Yes, let me tell you, there is nothing like a bad team. There are always the bad leaders. And I'll tell you the definition of a leader at the end of this presentation. Okay. You might be thinking that why this person is blaming leaders on everything. Just keep connected. I'll exactly tell you what a leader is. The definition of the word leader. For the time being, I am sharing the principles of being a good leader. Okay, so let me reiterate: there is never a bad team, there is always a bad leader. So the principle says that leaders fundamentally decide their team's level of performance. Okay, so under the right leadership, any team can thrive. Actually, I'll tell you how. Let us take a learning from combat. I don't know if you have heard of the Hell Week or not, but Hell Week is a week of training for the naval forces of some country. I won't name that country. Yeah. So there they have this thing called as underwater demolition training. So this is again a real life experience that happened in 2012. So there was 13 teams participating in the Hell Week and undergoing this underwater demolition training. In this training, they have to carry huge boats and they cover maybe like XYZ kilometers and huge number of swimmings. Like this is the one of the worst training one can ever undergo. Okay, so there were 13 teams. One team is always leading, and another team is always failing. So, like after a report, 13th team leader was saying that the team which was getting every time that team is getting 12th or 13th rank. So that team leader explained that no, this is not a good team. I am trying my best, but this is not a good team. This team consists of a person who can't run well, who can't manage well, who can't do a teamwork, full of excuses. But what the higher managerial team decided is let's swap the team leaders. They swept the team leaders. The team at the rank 13th got the team leader of the team at rank first. Okay. And the team at the rank first got the team leader of team at the rank 13th. Again, Team members are same, but the team leaders are swapped with the team number first and 13th. Now guess what happened? So where were we? Yeah, the teams are swapped or team leaders are swapped, and guess what? A good leader took the team at the rank 13th to the rank second. And you won't believe me, the team which was outperforming and was consistently at the rank first started gradually started getting to the lower ranks like fifth rank, seventh rank, eighth rank. This is a clear cut example. This is a very clear cut example that if a leader is good, that person can that person can let the team thrive. Okay, so let's take the example of this application in real world business. There was some company, they are creating a superb product. The CEOs, CMOs, CFOs, the whole managerial team was outstanding. And the developers that are working on that project was really outstanding. But the CTO was someone who always kept on complaining that this happened to this deadline, this team didn't work well. It's because of the back end guys, it's because of the front end guys, and n number of excuses. So again, the CEO of the same company talked with Jocko Willink that what should we do in this case. He talked to the CTO and just asked him to take the extreme ownership of the things. He shouldn't do like this. He shouldn't come up with excuses to cover his mistakes. So at the end, guess what happened? The CTO denied the fact that extreme ownership is something which is good. So Jocko Willink just suggested the CEO to fire CTO of his position and just get a better CTO with maybe with less knowledge, but yes, but with the principle of extreme ownership. Guess what? They hired the new CTO, and that company literally did well in the coming years just because of that bad fish in the team. Again, I'm telling you, there is nothing like a bad team. There are only the bad leaders. And now let's get to the second point. Third point. I won't remember the countings. Okay, so let's get to the next point. It's clarity and belief. Principle says, as a leader, you must fully understand and believe in the mission. You are working as a team on a large project. Okay, so you must understand the vision of that company, the vision of that project, the vision of that hustle. Because if you won't understand, you won't be able to convince your team to work on that vision. So yeah, this principle says that before you can convince others to impress it and lead them to do what's needed to succeed, you need to tell them what's the real mission behind this project. Okay, so let's take the learnings from combat. Okay, yeah. So this is my best one. So the army of one country was asked to work with the army of another country. Okay, so let's say it's country A and B. Country A is being asked to work with the military of country B. So the soldiers of country A was like, no, we won't work with the soldiers of country B. They are less trained. They don't know how to use the high-end ammos and all that. We are the best in the world. We won't work with B. But the leaders, they know the real vision. They know that they can't succeed in this mission without working with the country B. So the leader believed on the product, believed on the mission, sorry, and let the same clarity and it and shared the same clarity with the whole troops. And guess what? Both armies worked together. Army A trained Army B, and they worked together and they succeeded in the mission, actually. And if we take the same application to business, let me share you. There are times where CEOs, like higher managerial position, have to take tough decisions. So it's always necessary to share the vision of those tough decisions with your team. It's not like you just take a decision and share the decision with your team that yes, this is the decision that the board members have taken and you have to follow this and that thing. No, you have to share the vision and mission and clarify each and everything with your team so that your team can also believe in the end product and the whole team. Okay, so this is the example from my own company, Fountain. Like I work in a company named Fountain, which is a venture owned by Checkpoint. I'm a software developer there. Okay, so we started working on a very huge and very new project. Everyone was like, yes, this is this. We know the small parts of the project. Yes, this team is working on this project. This team is working on that project. Everybody knows what's going on the ground, but nobody knows what's going as a whole. So this is a good thing that the leaders did to my team. The CEO and CTO of the company called for a meeting and shared the real overall vision behind this thing. And guess what? Now we have the sense of ownership with that project. And we know that aggregating the components of the different semi projects will get to a huge scenario that will definitely succeed in the market. So yes, it's very important for a leader to fully understand and believe in a mission so that he or she can convince his or her team as well. So with this, let's go to the next principle, and I request you to take a note of, if you have any doubt, just take a note of it. We'll have an AMA at the end of the presentation. So manage your ego. Yes. The principle says that great leaders prioritize the wider mission over their personal ego. Let me repeat it. This is very important. Good leaders prioritize the wider mission, the whole mission, over their personal ego. They are willing to learn, accept good ideas from others, and own up to their mistakes. That's very important. They are willing to learn and accept up their mistakes. They don't have any personal egos. They prioritize the wider mission. So if we take the example from the combat field, yes, there was a plan. You can say plan X. So the team planned to cover a building in such a way that they will attack the persons in that building, attack the militants in that building, so that in case to get the victory towards that building. Okay, so while they executed the plan, all of a sudden they got to know. All of the sudden they got to know that there is someone else in the another building which is hindering their attack on this building. Guess what? They have to come back. They have to come back. If the leader of that team kept this thing on his ego, that no, we'll execute this thing, we own that building, this small project, this small attack is very important for us, this small mission is the only mission that we have to succeed, then they all might have died. But no, he knew the wider mission. They took a step back and prepared another plan to handle that unexpected situation and bounce back. Yes, There are times in your life when you have to take a step back and bounce back with a better plan, actually. So if we take the same application to business, so let me take an example. There was a mid-level manager. Okay, so she took decision. She took a major decision actually without any clearance of the top level managers. And the CMO of that company was like, this thing done by that mid-level manager is very wrong. And again, yes, he talked to Jocko Willink, and Jocko Willink is like, let's calm down and discuss the scenario, what must have happened in this case. And at the end of the whole discussion, after getting to know the ground reality of the situation, they came to know that if that mid-level manager didn't had took that decision, and if she had waited for the acceptance or clearance of the acceptance and clearance of higher level managers, then they might have lost $1 million or more than that. So actually, that mid-level manager saved their business. And yes, they that higher level of manager, CMO, and all that, they didn't this thing on their ego. They managed their ego. They thought of the situation calmly. That's why only they tackled with the situation. Otherwise, they would have just fired off that manager. So again, manage your ego and know about the wider mission over your personal ego. And with this only, we'll get to the next principle: cover and move. Yes, you must have heard about this military tactic. Cover and move is nothing, is just a teamwork. Yes, it is a very common military tactic where all elements within a greater team must work together to accomplish a singular purpose. I'll tell you. There are different teams to accomplish a huge mission, to accomplish a singular purpose, but there are plural teams that have to work with each other. Something so in the if we talk about the combat, so if one team is moving forward, another team have to give a cover. You must have played Counter Strike or some other game. Second team will provide a cover so that first team can move on, and that team will provide a cover to the second team, and so that second team can move on. This is something known as teamwork, and we can learn this very easily from war fields, because without teamwork, no country have ever won any fight, any war. Okay, so if we talk about this thing, this application to business, so actually, I don't think we need to discuss much about this teamwork, because let's say this, it falls on leaders to continually keep perspective on the strategic mission. So, Leah, so it's the responsibility of a team leader to remind the team that they are the part of something great. They are the part of some huge mission. They're not the part of that small missions that you are taking daily. You have to succeed in each and every mission, supporting each and other team. Like if, let's say, finance team is not supporting the technical team, there's no point. There's no point. How the tech team will work without the support of finance team? So I actually saw this thing in my organization, Chai Point. There we work very closely and we cooperate with each other very, like, it's the extreme case I have ever seen. The food department, the finance department, the admin department, the cloud development department, Android department, back-end department, front-end department, they all have to do teamwork. Then only will we be able to accomplish a huge goal. And yeah, with this only, we'll get to the next mission or next principle, which says keep things simple. Yes, guys, keep your plans very simple. I urge you, keep your plans very simple so that they can be easily communicated, understood, and adjusted in response to real time changes. If you will keep things very complicated, and when you need to explain those things to your team, it would be very tough for you to explain as well as for your team to understand those concepts. Okay, just have a huge goal and keep your plans simple. So in combat is like anything in life has inherent layers of complexities. You can't even believe that how tough warfield is. So it is simplifying the goals and plans of the warfield is the most important integral part that every commander must know. Okay, and it is actually a very important factor for a success. And if we talk about this application in business, I was searching about some company and got to know that that company came up with a very complex incentivization plan for their employees. They came up with, some nerdy formulas and equations that if some employee will work good for 3 months, some employee will work good for 6 months, 10 months, 12 months, we will have this formula to calculate the incentivization of that employee, that formula for this employee. They came up with a very complex plan. And guess what? At the end of the day, none of their employees were able to understand that plan, and it actually fails. They had an aim to incentivize their good workers, their talented workers, but they were not able to do that because nobody actually understood that. So yes, sorry. So yeah, said they came up with a plan which is very simple, which is as effective as equivalent to that complex one. But yes, it is very simple plan. They just said that if an employee works for this type of performance, will get this type of incentives. And if somebody works on this type of parameter, will get this benefits. That's it. That actually boosted the work power of their employees, actually. So yeah, just keep things simple, not only in combat, not only in business. It's about the whole life scenario. Just keep things simple. And with this, let's move on to the next principle, prioritize and execute. This principle is very important, not only for combat fields, not only for business, but it is for everybody, for entrepreneur, for a student, for a mother, for a father. This principle is very effective. So it says that every challenge is complex in its own right, each demanding attention. Yes, but a good leader stays calm, identified the top priorities, and tackle those priorities one by one. So there are, like, if we talk about combat learnings of this principle, there are countless problems compounding the snowball effect. Never target that huge snowball. Have a small teams, prioritize things, and execute plans. Yes, that will definitely be a successful plan rather than executing a lots of plans altogether. And if we take this application to business, there is some company whose losses are increasing like every single day, and the whole board members are hustling to decrease those losses. And at the end, they just felt like they are not able to get the company to profits. They just talked again to Jocko Willink, and yes, Jocko Willink suggested that just tell me whatever you are doing to decrease the losses, just tell me each and everything. And guess what? They are again targeting a huge snowball to decrease their losses. Yes, and again, Willink suggested that prioritize your task and execute it. Like, which is a major factor that is affecting your losses. That is affecting your profits. Target that. Then go to the next priority. Target that. Can then go to the third priority. Target that priority and kill that thing. And guess what? Again, that company came to profits in a very small amount of time because you can't hit a wall, but you can hit a prick. Prioritize and execute, guys. And yes, I know these are the 10 principles that I shared with you, and I am free for any AMS. Like if you want to ask anything from any of the slides, or if you want me to like repeat any slide, if you missed something, just go ahead. You can simply type in the message box. Okay, so Osantogan says ego is definitely one of the main problems during conflicts. It's very true. See, if you are in a conflict, if a team is in conflict, if you are in the conflict with your team or with your manager, just think of it. Just think of it that yes, you might be wrong. It's not like you are always right. You might be wrong. So, yes, keep your personal egos aside. And M. Pastris said, will you share your presentation in one of the channels? Yeah, I'll definitely share the presentation, the recording of the whole session or the whole webinar in Tech AMS or anywhere you will say. Well, I'll share in the Slack only, that Study Jam channel. Yeah. So, Mark Gadi says that, what is your opinion about delegation by leaders? Can you please elaborate this thing? Like what exactly you want to discuss? Okay, so you are saying that delegation by leaders. So what I think is delegation is something that if a leader wants to just want their team to work freely, a group leader will just assign a project or assignment to the employees and let them work freely. Yes, that things works. And with this thing, the employees learns a lot. But again, you as a leader have to keep a very close eye on this thing. That let them work freely, but yes, you know, you have to keep a very close eye on them so that if they are doing something wrong, you must correct them. Otherwise, they'll keep on doing wrong. They will keep on doing wrong, and at the end of the day, the result will be very bad. Yeah. So Cindy said you should do this as a TED talk. No, this is not my task, Cindy. Thank you so much. And yeah, Ahmad Raza says sometimes we have bad team. They don't work in corporate culture. They're how leaders can play roles. Questions related to bad leaders and good leaders. Yeah, so as I discussed, the person who says that sometimes we have a bad team, not you, but yes, if a leader is saying that, yes, my team is actually bad, that then again, It's not the part of the leader to complain about the team. It's the part of the leader to get to know the weaknesses of the team and, yes, work on the weakness rather than putting on excuses to the higher management. Yeah. What about knowing or keeping data of our team competencies to improve leadership? What's your experience? Yeah, so I won't say this by my experience. I'll share. I had a same discussion with one of the entrepreneur in Delhi, India. So yeah, he always analyzed the data, previous data of his employees, just in order to know that what are the weaknesses, what are the strength of his team. And yes, that part is very effective because you know that on which point you have to work on. Okay. Yeah. So is there any other questions you want to ask me? We'll wait for one more minute. And yes, you can anytime ping me on Slack. Uh, yeah, I wanted to share what a leader is. Yes, on the whole presentation, I kept on saying that there is never a bad team. There are always a bad leader. Leader must take the full accountancy of the work, either wrong or right. So if you are at the lowest ever position in a team, if you are the junior most person in the team, you are also the leader. You are the leader of yourself. Again, your manager is the leader of the whole team. Again, his manager is the leader of all the managers and the teams. So never ever think that you are not wrong, only your leader is wrong. You on your part can be wrong. You need not to blame anyone else. So if we talk about this slide, this extreme ownership. So here also, when commander had a meeting with all the troops, so each and everyone started saying that no, this is because of mistake done by us. No, this is happened because of the mistake done by us. That is extreme ownership. They are the leaders of their own self. That is exactly what I want to say. There are leaders, but you yourself is the leader. If something is going wrong within your team, you must held yourself accountable of that wrong deed, actually. And yeah, and okay, thank you guys for joining this webinar. Feel free to ping me over Slack at Jashanpreet Singh or Facebook me or LinkedIn me. You can take the screenshot of this thing, and I would be very delighted to get connected with you. Thank you so much for joining this webinar.